Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. Hey, babe, guess what?
My name is Brian.
And my name is Cora, and we will be your hosts today. Before we get started, we would like to remind any of you listening to hit the like button and subscribe if you liked what you saw and heard during this episode. Please make a comment in the show notes if you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to share it with your friends. So let's get into it, babe.
All right. So, what are we going to talk about today? Not judging people from our past, right?
Yeah,
Or judging people from their past,
from their past. Yeah,
about their past. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Any of those. Any like that all
All the
sorry,
above.
I fiddle with my hair, so you guys are gonna be, like, annoyed, but all of the above. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you kick us off? Get this ball rolling.
Okay, I think I did see, um, a TikTok this morning. I don't know if I can say that on here. I
Something
saw
about the Bachelor or something.
yeah, I saw a thing mentioned about the Golden Bachelor. I don't even follow that show. I haven't how everyone's into The Bachelor? Well, not everyone. There's people who follow it, they love it. I've never really even watched a full episode. But now there's one called The Golden Bachelor, and I guess there was the finale and stuff, and he chose someone. And now, of course, someone from his past is coming forward about, how, her relationship with him and stuff. And, there's different opinions about, well, we shouldn't judge him. That was the past. And then people are like, oh, this is him, you know, they're using, there's always going to be people judging. But what we want to try to talk about today is that we've we're all flawed, like you were telling me earlier. We all have varying pasts that and a lot of things we're not proud of because we're all learning as we're living. And when you've when the past is in the past and you're a different person and you've grown and you've done the work, like should that be used against you? This is the question. I mean, should people and I guess people we shouldn't judge. But for that guy, the bachelor, I don't even know his name, the Golden Bachelor, but what this gal coming forward, I I said guest. I guess I feel like maybe she's doing it like is she scorned? Is she just trying to set her record straight because she saw him and it was upsetting? You know what I mean?
Trying to get attention.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that. Um, but I've done many, many things I'm not proud of, but they're in my past. That's like before. You and I are starting this fresh chapter in life, and I know that we don't hold anything against each other from like when you're in your 20s. Like I'm not gonna be like I love hearing your stories, but some of them are shocking to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm sure none of your friends are like shocked, but I mean, I'm like, oh my God. And I always tell you, I'm like, I don't know that you. I know you now. Like you're so peaceful to me. I could never picture you, it was the 80s. Like people like fought to get when the guys had to get through arguments, like people would like throw fists. So um
Well, like you said, everybody has a past.
mhm.
We've all got building blocks that brought us to where we are now.
Yeah.
All of those pieces of the puzzle were important.
Yeah.
As long as we've done our piece and extracted what we were supposed to extract from those experiences and applied them to our lives in a proper way to advance our position, then every um, experience was probably worth it as long as we bettered ourselves. Now, what you certainly don't want to have is if I stole a bunch of stuff when I was younger and I'm stealing stuff still today,
Yeah.
I mean, really haven't changed, right? So you were defining me as a thief then. The judgment was you stole, so you're a thief. Well, today you're still stealing. So I'm still going to identify you as a thief because that's accurate, right? You have a history of stealing. You're still stealing. You are a thief. Now I can take my own experience and I can tell you, for all you religious people or people that are Christians, every sin in the book, I've probably done it 10 times, 100 times, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
beat people up, drank, done drugs, been in jail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So if I were to be judged strictly on my past, nobody would hang out with me.
Yeah.
But for myself, I did a whole bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have done. Immoral stuff, illegal stuff, stupid stuff. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
And hopefully what I've done to some degree of success or another, I've applied it and
Mhm.
tried to make myself better. So like Cora said, I can tell you stories about my younger days, getting in fights and partying and drinking and doing drugs and all kinds of crazy stuff. And Cora's like, huh? Because in today's world, that's not a thing.
Yeah. Like I I always tell you, like, I don't like, I'm so happy I have the the version of you now, because I'm like, I would not have dated you back then, and you wouldn't have dated me either. Like, well,
Oh, I would have.
stop it. Um
I would have chased you all around town.
I would have been afraid of you because you were like, I think I was telling Brian, you go in a nightclub and there's like my personality. Like if when I would see like whoever was getting like a lot of attention, they were allowed, whatever, I would avoid that person like the plague. Avoid.
And that was me to the T. I was one of the loudest, I was not hard to find, no matter how big or how large or how loud that club was. I was not hard to find.
Yeah, when you're like buff and good looking, and when you're
Loud
your hot
and
denim vest.
I was
You have to wear that vest.
constantly burning the candle at both ends. I mean, I was out there and I was going to guarantee that me and everybody around me had a good time.
Yeah, I definitely would have and I was good. I was good at dodging. Like when I would see like if some guy that I didn't want to approach me, like I knew how to shake him, get him off my
Yeah,
tail. So
I would have got you.
okay, moving along. um, but yeah, I found it interesting about the Golden Bachelor. I have to go back, and I should have brought proper names here, but I just kind of wanted to reference the fact that now that this guy has like found someone, now an ex is coming out of the woodwork. And of course, now people are all like, oh, he's a terrible person, but I'm like, that's before, but they're saying this is exactly who he is. And I kind of, I remember a thing that you had told me about your past. And when I was hanging out with certain girlfriends, like 5 years ago, they were like, he's a terrible person. That's like, and I'm not going to say what it is because I don't need heat from like people like judging on here. Like,
But the other piece of that story is there's the story, and then there's the little tiny section of the story that you took and told your friends.
yeah.
You didn't tell them the whole story. You took
Oh,
a
you know
very
what? I'm actually
specific piece.
I'm thinking of a different one though. Like I'm thinking of a
Oh,
different one.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, but yeah, because I'm like picturing in my head of when I told them. And so back then when I was easily influenced and I wanted to please everybody, and I thought that, I would just let everybody kind of lead me around and not have my own, you know, personality so I could make my own decisions and be on
Well, and
my own person.
you were still practicing unsuccessful negative tactics that you employed with your ex-husband, and
Yeah,
you
1
just
year.
took them from that relationship and you applied them to our relationship. So in your past relationship, what you had structured and practiced was to make sure that everybody knew that he was the bad guy and that you were the victim, and that
I didn't
in
really
that
have to work hard.
dynamic.
Yeah, I didn't have to work hard for that, seriously, though. Like,
No,
he
I
was
know,
very
but in that dynamic, of course, what you were probably doing, and this is what I'm leading to, is you're making sure that you always were justified in making an escape.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't say he was a bad guy to everybody. It was like only my inner circle. But I just want to make that clear because I don't want my kids thinking I'm every person I talk to on the street, I'm like bad mouthing their dad. It was just my inner
Well, it sounds like
circle.
you guys had a certain group that you hung out with, or friends, or whoever.
Yeah. But I don't even see any of them anymore. But
But
yeah. Yeah. You know, when you get a divorce, friends go with, they split. You gotta divide friends. In mine, kind of like I didn't get anybody. So
well, that tells you what kind of friends they were.
exactly. Yeah. And I think I say there's maybe like one or two, probably just one that is very genuinely happy for you and I. And they were extremely close to my ex-husband. I don't know if they still keep in touch because I had to make a clean cut from all of that because not that it was painful, but you know, these are friends of his that he had from high school, middle school. These are not my original friends. And I was just trying to be respectful and like, you know,
Well, because you're from Hawaii.
yeah.
He grew
So,
up in Oregon, right?
yeah. So a lot of the friends we made as couples, like, yeah, that's like through our kids stuff. But I don't know why I'm going off the tangent, but I am. Um, it kind of like it just worked out that way. And to be honest, I think because of my personality and my avoidant, I kept everything surface with all of the friends. I never went deep with anybody. I never took the time to really fully get to know them because I kept them at arm's length. And for whatever reason, he made a connection and they all stay together, and that's his life. Um, I had great moments with these people, so I'm thankful and grateful for that. And I have memories. I have good memories, fun memories, but life goes on and
As it does.
it does. And I used to be, I'm going to say right now, and you know this, I was really butthurt that I kind of lost the friends.
Mhm.
I was really butthurt because I'm like, I feel like, you, it's like a part of you is like done. It's like instantly like, okay, you're done. It's like when I got divorced, it's like, okay, his family's not my family. So I have like, there's a sever. And that's like, it's like weird as an adult to be told like you can't, like, these aren't your, this isn't your family anymore. That was hard
Yeah.
because I had really felt close to his sisters, and then I feel like, and I had just been getting close with them too at towards the end. And I know they all kind of felt bad for me, but it's weird. I couldn't even like, okay, oh, my in-laws are not my in-laws anymore. Boom, that's it. And you helped me like get through that. You made me realize it's like that's his family. That's. I had a
Hey,
hard time with that.
and
Uh,
bygones are bygones, right? There's no
yeah,
no point in,
what we're
in
talking
crying
about.
over spilt milk.
Exactly. And so switching back to not judging someone on their past, just trying to bring it full circle here. Because with my ADHD, I'm like, over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. Um, back to the thing I was thinking of when I said I told my friends this one thing about you, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a terrible person. And here's the thing, in hindsight, I'm just like, I was trying to push you away. I was trying to build a team against you, you know?
Oh,
And
I know.
I know you know, but let me talk. So I was trying to build a team against you. And in hindsight, now that I can see that, you know what I mean? Um, and so I did that based like judging you on your past, but that was like 30 something years ago. So unfair. And I guess I should research better into this, like the Golden Bachelor thing, where she's coming out saying that. I mean, it sounds pretty bad. The things that she said is pretty. It's like,
Well,
oh,
of course, when you only get one side of the story, it always sounds bad. You don't
but
think they're going to, for 1 second, make it sound like it's good, right? The reason they're coming
yeah,
forward to tell something
of
bad is
course,
to make it sound bad.
yeah. So I'm feeling bad for this chick, right? I'm reading it. I'm like, no way did this guy do this to her. What? It's so like juicy and gossipy sounding, but it's like I feel bad for her for the stuff that happened.
Of course,
Um,
that's why she's spilling it the way she's spilling it.
I only heard a couple blurbs. Do you want me to like tell you what it said?
Sure.
Um, it said that like so his
This
wife.
way, when I go on the Golden Bachelor, I make sure not to make these same mistakes.
Okay, well, if you go to the Golden Bachelor, I don't need to move down to Arizona. So, um, so I don't know. Some of the blurbs was the fact that okay, his wife passed away. That's really sad. Like the love of his life and stuff. And they showed like he. I don't even know the backstory, but I know that like I read something like before the show even started that his kids and his kids really they don't want him to be alone, so they encouraged him, and he applied for the show, whatever. And his wife, I don't know what I think it was cancer. I have to go and check. I don't want to say. So I think after she passed away, he started dating and he dated this one gal for like 3 years. And then his like class reunion was coming up. And like right before that, like he had asked her to like lose weight because he didn't like the way she looked. She gained weight. And then right after that, she moved in with him. She moved from a state that she was in he asked her to move in with him. So she did. So she had to change jobs and everything to be with him. And then he asked her to move out and he gave her 2 weeks, but he actually charged her rent too. Like it's this whole thing. He charged her rent, but she got him. I thought he was asking for $1,000, but she got him down to $850. And then he charged her rent, and then he he gave her 2 week notice to get out. So while she was moving, she broke her leg, but he still expected her to move out. It's this whole thing. So I have to go and make sure I get the story right for the next episode.
And
But
this is what she's alleging.
that's what she's alleging. And so she still had to
Okay.
move out. She had a broken leg and she had to make this thing work because he was like forcing her out and all this stuff. And he was like being a real dick. And she was like, sorry, I shouldn't say that. That's just what the article said. And or the gal was saying it in the article because it showed it behind. And so look at me getting caught up in this her story about his past. And I don't even know like when this was. Was this like it must be like years and years and years ago. Because
Who knows?
I don't know. Anyway, okay, I have a good question for you. What do you consider like the time limit for like considering it the past? Like if this was just last year, is that like considered the past?
What you mean from a technical standpoint? Of course,
Yeah,
if
for
it's
technical.
5 minutes ago, it's the past. If it's 30 seconds
Okay.
ago, it's the past.
Okay. Okay. No, this is just what I want.
However, that's not necessarily how we judge everything.
Yeah.
If a few minutes ago you and I just had an argument and you treated me a certain way, and the time goes by and I'm still emotionally involved, how long does that take to remove yourself emotionally? I don't know. It's different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you have a family member or a friend that just got out of prison or jail. And let's say they did some bad things and they spent a considerable amount of time in there. I mean, that's the past, right? So do you give them a chance? It's going to be different for everybody because everybody assesses these things differently and everybody has a different perspective and an emotional outlook on whatever it is. I mean, maybe if I came across somebody that was a child molester.
Oh God, babe, you can't say that on.
It doesn't matter how long that was in the past. I'm probably not going to be really cool with that. So if you had a guy that was a rapist
Oh, you can't say that kind of stuff on, like, you have to
Yeah,
say,
you can.
no, you can just say SA or sexual.
Anyway, so if you met somebody like that, I don't care how far it was in the past, I'm probably not going to be cool with that because that's not something I am ever going to be cool with. So it
Exactly.
really depends on the circumstances. It really depends on the offense. It
Mhm,
depends on the person,
mhm,
right? I mean, the example I gave you was I was all this stuff in the past, and you're like, wow, I can't even picture that.
mhm.
So, but it doesn't make it any less true. I mean, all that stuff is true,
Yeah,
but I'm just different now.
yeah. Like I told you, it's like you're the most peaceful person that I know. The thing is, though, I can tell when we walk in a room together, when we in a restaurant ever, I I can tell that your energy that you give off, people do not mess with you. Like, that's just, and you don't even try. You're just, it's the energy you give off. You, like, no one will, like, I love when we go out together because nobody bugs us. It's so awesome. But, no, like, you just have a presence, that
Well, I mean, I
people
know
don't
what I know. I don't have to.
F with you, I said.
I just know what I know. Three people's guesses. We joke about this all the time because it just happened the other day. If people ask me what my job is, the first guess is always, "Are you a cop?" And the second guess almost always is firefighter or military. And I used to be in the military, but anyway, that's whatever people I guess apparently look like or act like. That's must be what I look like and act like because those are
Yeah.
almost everybody's first three guesses.
Yeah. Um, it'll be interesting though when you grow your hair out because you said you might do that. You're just gonna
I
let
am. I'm growing it out. Can't you see?
I know. Oh my god, I love it. That one time that you did, I was like, and you're like, your family didn't. You're like, what are you? They're like, what are you doing? But then, like, I thought
Everybody's like, "What's going on with your hair?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm growing it out." And they're like, "What?"
it. I love that you're such a silver fox, babe, and I just like it's like I was like, what? Oh my god! And every time on Facetime, I would screenshot that you're growing your hair out. I would send it to my sister. She's like, oh my god! I go like, I know.
Well, why don't you tell everybody why you want me to grow my hair out?
Stop it, babe. See, my kids can't watch this episode now. Jeez.
You didn't answer. I just asked a question.
I'm not gonna say that. This is supposed to be
Oh, okay.
PG-13. Stop.
Okay.
Um, people can just guess. Just don't. Anyway.
Put it down in the comments.
Oh God. Here's my fan.
If you can guess, we'll give you a prize.
Stop. Oh boy. Give you a rose. Like from the Golden Bachelor. You know what? I wonder. I don't even watch it, but I wonder if they give him like is it a red rose? I don't even know because that's what they use for the other one. I gotta get my stuff straight, like my research,
You're
because I don't watch these
asking the
things.
wrong guy.
Yeah. I remember this one, since we're on the Golden Bachelor thing, I remember maybe a couple years ago, I was out with this girlfriend and this other gal. She was there and she was just like, they're all talking about The Bachelor. Like, everybody, it's like a big night. Everybody gets their wine or whatever, and they all watch it or whatever. Um, God, I've never even seen a full episode. And I don't know why. I think it's like once you get in, if I'm sure if I did, I got back into it like when it was like super popular, I probably would be into it. But because it's salacious and it's drama, of course I'm gonna be into it. But
Of
I just never
course.
did. I just never did. And for some reason I feel really proud that I never did. I take pride in the fact that I've never seen any. But she would be like, she was like shocked that I've never, she goes, you don't watch The Bachelor? And I was just like, no. And she looked at me like I was weird. I'm like, am I missing something? Am I supposed to be into this show? Like, what? And just my opinion, I think this chick was like even though we're same age, I feel she was very like immature. Even though like I was immature, I felt like, okay, I know I was judging her, but I was just like, no, I don't watch The Bachelor. I was just like kind of like confused. I didn't know it was a thing. I think I
Yeah.
missed that whole entire everybody was obsessed with it thing. So
Everybody has their shows, I guess, their little guilty pleasures.
Oh yeah, totally. And back to like judging people. Look at me. I just judged that chick and I said she was immature. So, but
If it's an accurate assessment, it's an accurate assessment.
yeah, she kind of is. She told me one time, she said, I think I told you this, and we're never going to name names in here, like, unless it's a positive thing. I shouldn't be talking shit. Sorry. I just have to say, I just thought it was weird. For me personally, like, I don't post pictures and videos of my grandchildren because it's out of respect for my daughter. She wants privacy. And I want my grandkids to have privacy because, you know, they don't want, who knows if they want the pictures out there? I don't know. I'm not going to post it just for my kudos, you know? Anyway, this chick this chick proceeds to tell me we were in the bathroom together. We bumped into each other in the bathroom, which I was just like, try to always avoid her. So to bump into her in the bathroom was just like, oh. I was thinking in my head that one swear word. And then she's like, oh, she goes, you don't really post pictures, such a bossy little person. And I consider myself bossy too. So I'm probably like, I'm like ready to, I'm like a little pit bull. But she's like, oh, she goes, you don't really post pictures of your grandchildren. She goes, you need to do that more. I'm like, oh, okay. That was my answer because I was like, I did not know how to respond to someone telling me to post more pictures of my grandchildren. I'm like,
Well, as you learn to mature, what you figure out is you don't have to respond.
yeah. And I said, oh, okay. And trust me, there was somebody in the past that would, I'm from Hawaii. I could have been like really like said a lot of terrible things and throw down and stuff. But I just, I must have been like 48 or 49. I think it was like 49. And I was just like taken aback because I was shocked. I was, I was like, who tells somebody that? Like, who says that? It's just like, I'm like, oh. And then I go and I tell my daughter, and she was like, she didn't put any weight in it. And she's like, tell her no. Like, that's her. It's like, I'm like,
Exactly.
and she's like, she wasn't getting involved, but I was like super annoyed. And as you know, and I'm working on this, I get riled up really easily. I really do. So part of me of regulating my emotions is trying to not get riled up. But I have to say, you help me so much to pull myself back in because I get frantic, frenetic, and I just and then there's no off button. You can't find it. So um thank you for
You do get pretty spun up pretty easy.
yes. And you know, for this being positive and not being judgmental, like what we're talking about right now, I sometimes I wish I would have met you like years ago, because I feel like I would have been further along.
You
Just
wish
in
we
my,
would have met years ago.
yeah.
We did meet years ago.
I'm talking about when my kids were little.
Oh,
If I would have met you and I was divorced, I would have, because you're such a great partner for support and you're always wanting me to grow and to learn and to grow together. And you're not like, you always like, I used to think that you were like trying to control me, but that wasn't the case. You're just trying to give me good advice, life advice,
well, I would give you the example all the time. I would say, remove me for the equation. I was never even born on this earth. I don't even exist. And if you follow what it is that I'm telling you, you still benefit. And it has nothing to do with me.
yeah. 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 I remember you saying that many times.
Probably hundreds of times, probably.
Anyway, back to the picture thing. I don't, you guys. I don't post pics of my grandkids because I respect their privacy. I respect my daughter's privacy and her request. And that one chick, I don't know what she's up to. I don't know.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, doesn't. All I know is that happened.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what do you think for yourself as you look back at your own past and where you are now? Lots of judgments could be made, right?
So many.
But what do you think you've taken away from that experience of having the freedom to make those mistakes, live that experience, and then come to the plate now? What do you think your perspective is on that?
I think I used to really just up until maybe recently, and because you and I have had some deep conversations about this, I would always say to you, like, I would beat myself up over it. When I would think about the things I had done, the way I behaved, the things I said, the things I didn't say. Um, I would torture myself by reliving those moments in my head and feeling like crap about it, crying, spiraling out of control into a depressive state because of it. But I think you've worked so hard to tell me and help me that that's in the past. Just make sure you don't repeat that type of behavior because it's not like it's going to help anybody that you're reliving the past. The past is in the past. You always say that. For me, when I was going through the divorce, before I met you, I had experienced a lot of bad decisions that I made. And what's that noise?
We're fairly close to the Marine Corps Air Station. It's a jet fighter going over.
Okay. I thought it was your tummy.
No, it's just a jet going over.
I'm kidding. It was really loud. Holy cow.
Yeah.
hmm Dang. No, I lost my train of thought. The past is the past.
You'd made some bad choices.
Yeah. So, you know, before I was getting a divorce, like, yeah, I made poor choices, whatever, but the portion I'm talking about, like that I want to reference with you, and I feel like that's what you're talking about, is before I met you, I was like having a lot of fun because I was going through divorce and my ex had already moved on. And so, divorces take time, you guys. So in that meantime, I wasn't going to just sit on my ass. I was going to go have fun too. I was going to have my share of it, right? And in my mind, I thought um, that I had been missing out on so much because I was a stay-at-home mom, you guys. So I went a little bit crazy, jumped on the apps, and I was like, "Ooh, this is fun!" Like, the swiping and the attention. You get that dopamine hit. It's like, "Oh my god, this person thinks I'm cute." Swipe. This doesn't matter. Just like the swiping thing, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get carpal tunnel from all the swiping. Um, but needless to say, I got on those apps and made a lot of bad decisions and bad choices. Um, and then I met Brian and I treated him really poorly. And for me, like, those are the things that more than the terrible decisions I made of these terrible, let's call them dates, but it's treating you poorly, representing you poorly to my friends at the time and my children. That's like the past, like that's, I hold myself accountable. So I just, I feel terrible about it and I torture myself with it. And I know that, that's when you come in and you say, that's just the past. Don't worry about it. Just don't do it again. Not that you're telling me what to do, because people are like, oh, she's telling him he's bossing her out. No, it's just personally, I don't want to be that person. And so you would say, then you know, don't repeat
Well,
it.
if somebody is truly sorry and if somebody is truly remorseful, if I walk up to a guy and I punch him in the face and I say, "Oh man, I'm really sorry," and he says, "Okay, I forgive you," and then I walk back up and punch him in the face and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and he goes, "Okay, I forgive you," and I walk back up and I punch him in the face, "Oh, I'm sorry." I mean, how many times is he going to forgive me? And then is he going to believe that I'm sorry?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely not going to believe me because I'm not illustrating anything that proves or verifies
Mm.
that my behavior is getting corrected or fixed or that I regretted any of it. So ultimately, what's important is you don't have to beat yourself up or do all the things that you were doing and making yourself depressed because of these poor choices. And that's a whole another topic in itself, but
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah.
Wasting energy on something that happened and you have zero chance to fix or change is an absolute waste of energy because
Yeah.
it's already done.
Yeah.
So to refocus your attention and your focus on what you can affect and you can change is the next 10 seconds, hour, day, week. So it makes way more sense and it's only logical. Learn from the past, focus on the future, and try to take what happened in the past and make sure that it doesn't happen again. If you do that, people are going to believe that you were sorry. People are going to believe that you were remorseful. People are going to believe that you don't want to do this anymore. If you're still doing it, nobody's going to believe you. The other
Yeah.
piece is you're not going to believe yourself, right? So
Yeah.
you want to get more depressed, do bad things, and your body's going to go, oh man, your body and your brain are going to know that you're doing more bad stuff, and that's going to bring you farther and farther into that pit. If you know that you may struggle and you may fail, right? I may attempt to do something better and I may fail, but at least I attempted.
Yeah.
I tried. And then
Mhm.
the next time I'm going to try and I'm going to make it a little bit further. And the
Yeah.
next time I'm going to try again and I'm going to make it a little further. So nobody's perfect and nobody succeeds on the first try every single time. And nobody that I'm aware of instantly improves everything. Like they just flip the switch and oh, it's all
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Um,
No, takes work.
so it's it's important and we have memory for a reason so we can reference the past and we can improve on whatever happened that we want to change and we can improve that in the future. And I think if we focus on that and we do that, we're not necessarily judging people on the past as long as they changed it.
Yeah.
We would if they did it and they're still doing it.
Yeah. And I think the part of me that would beat myself up over the things I'd done to you, um, the way I treated you, I had to make peace with that. And when you were like, you just need to, just don't do it again, kind of like, move forward in life. And so when I made that conscious decision to, you know what, I do want to work on myself because I had felt so, you saw me, I was stuck for so long. And I was so unwilling to work on myself, everybody, because
Because it's
because
scary and
it's
hard.
hard, it's scary and it's hard, and I have a fear of like everything. And so I thought, this is why, like, I thought I'm stunted in so many different areas. It's because I really haven't even tried to start working on myself to be able to exceed or succeed at anything that I want as like a goal. Like how am I going to reach? Like, seriously, I've never taken the time to work on myself. I've never. And with Brian's help, I for so long. I feel I always say, I don't know, you're my sister says, "Oh, wow, he's the most patient man." I'm like, "Yeah, he is." Yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes, but with me, like, I feel like you have to use, like, special extra energy to do.
Sometimes.
Not that I'm trying to be difficult all the time. I think the way that the things that I saw growing up and that I adopted into my own personality, and then when I was married for so long, and I think I adopted some narcissistic traits that I have to try to shed and get rid of because those aren't mine. Those are something I just learned from somebody's already developed behavior. Um, yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'd rather do the hard work and work on myself because I have you. If I didn't have you, and you're right, I would be the same person, and I would be picking another narcissist to be with. So yeah, just calling it out.
Yeah, we unless we fix it, we tend to repeat the same mistakes.
Yeah. And so I refuse to be that person. And um, I'd rather do the hard work and so that we can have a beautiful life together, and not make it every day a struggle and stuff because I don't think every couple is like this, of course not. But when you get to like a certain point, I think you're together for a long time, like I think I told you, there's a lot of like resentment that builds up. And
Yeah, if things aren't going well, you bet.
And so that's hard to escape because you just look at that person's face and you just feel disgusted, you know?
Well,
So
especially
very
if you never talked it out, you had poor communication, you never solved any conflict, you never, I mean, all that stuff, you sweep it under the rug,
yeah,
never gets fixed, and it just
yeah,
gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean,
yeah.
cancer
So
grows for a reason, right?
yeah, so that's it's not just all the shit you swept under the rug because you could both had like, oh, don't we'll deal with it later kind of thing. You sweep it on the rug. You you haven't even dealt with yourself
Right.
plus all that stuff. So much, and then the other person has to, so it's so much to deal with. It's like, it's like what? It's like, how do you fully, truly um, start working on yourself, especially if your partner isn't willing, and then you got all these underlying years of things that have just like unsaid, and they just built up, and you just like it's a thing in you that you just look at them, and it's like, ugh, you know. So I feel fortunate that we're like, we have been known each other for 5 years, but we've been serious the past like 8 months, I would say, right?
Something like that.
So when I look at it, it's like such a fresh new start because I would have never done the work if you weren't like as strong and willing and capable of like where you're already sound, you know who you are. And so when you have to be with somebody like me who's like, I'm working on myself. I'm like, that's why I think I would push you away so much because like I knew the work to work on myself was hard and to be with you, it's like, and I would always tell you, you deserve somebody else who's like, who matches you better because it's easier for me to say those several words than look at
Well,
myself.
at that time and in that moment, it's easier to quit than to face the work that it takes.
Yeah. And to look myself in the mirror and be like, oh, girl, what? It's so painful because I seriously never took the time to look myself in the mirror and be like, Yeah.
Well, and nobody wants to eat the shit sandwich.
Yes. Nobody wants to, but boy, um, I knew that I had to, if I wanted like a loving, successful like relationship with you, because I didn't want to let it go, because I felt like, well, number one, I loved you. And I'm like, what am I doing? And when I told my sister, it's like all these great things about you. And she looked confused at me. She's like, what are you? She was like, what are you doing? She'd be like,
Well,
Kara. That's what she
and
said.
shedding the past is liberating, right? It's like a weight being lifted off your shoulders, and if you can get rid of that and also get out of those unsuccessful bad habits
Yeah.
and get on a new path, it's very empowering. So it's interesting, you know, if you want to escape the past, you got to be accountable. Being accountable sucks because you got to eat the shit sandwich.
Yeah.
But
You do.
once you do and you get it out of the way, and all of a sudden that stuff is getting fixed, it's amazing how much better you feel because it's actually fixed. You feel like shit half the time because you know that dragging all this stuff around just makes you tired, and it's more and more stuff. And oh my gosh, I got to run a little faster because I can still see that pile starting to catch up with me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
exhausting. So
It is.
it always is entertaining to me, the fear that people really have. You could alleviate that fear just by fixing it.
By facing it. Yeah.
So if you're really that scared, then just fix it, and then you don't have anything to be scared of because it's gone.
Yes. You know
So
what? I think I saw Layla Ramosi say that just recently. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that was it.
And I think the difference between you and I is the fact that you aren't fearful of things, and you do face things
That's
head on.
that's not entirely accurate. We're
Okay.
all scared of something. I'm very conscious of I'm very conscious of what I'm scared of.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of it, and I don't want it to disable me or to flavor my decisions, and I guess steer me on a bad course because of fear.
Yeah. And boy, I let fear be my driver, and it's been a messed up ride.
Well, and fear is useful, right? I mean, it's fear and anger. They're put into your body for a reason. They're If you know how to use them and make them useful, then they can be useful.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to make them useful, then they make you or they motivate you and usually initiate some sequence that makes you spin out of control.
Yeah. That's me. Um, but working with you on just these, it's an everyday work, you guys. It's every day. Look how exhausted he is. And when we live together, you get to have it face to face. So yay. Um,
That'll be
you
much
guys,
better.
I really, I had to really, really make a conscious decision, everyone, to really stop judging myself from my own past. Because once I did that, I was stuck. I was so like, I couldn't move forward because and even yet, I will call Brian and say, God, I still feel so guilty about how I treated you. Like every once in a while, I do. And you remind me, like, that's in the
Only
past.
other piece of that is I'm not the one bringing it up. I'm
Yeah,
not. I mean, if I've already forgiven it and put it behind me,
it's
then why are
true.
you still feeling bad about it?
Yeah, yeah. There's part of
And
me
it's
that,
it's a waste of energy. Don't
yeah,
even bother.
yeah,
Focus it where you need to focus it. I mean, that 10, 20, 30%, put that towards something that's going to be useful. That way you make more progress faster.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like really great advice.
Says the man on the mountain.
Oh, that looks like it's a good place to end right there. Um,
Okay.
I feel like we got about amount of information out and some good experiences. And I always love hearing about how you conquered things, and I'm a work in progress. I don't even know. It's for me, I already know because of like, it's going to be a lifelong thing. And I think that is for everyone. When you consciously want to improve yourself, like and I've told you this before, I don't want to be her anymore. I don't recognize who she was. I don't know old Cora. Like, I don't know. And I'm proud that I'm not her, because you wouldn't want to be with her. And I like who I am now with you, and who I'm going to, and the work that we put in together and individually. Like, this is who I'm excited for the future. And for my grandkids to see, so they don't have to see what my kids saw. Because my kids had to see some
Well,
ugly
like
stuff.
I've mentioned to you a ton of times, we're a team, we're partners. If you succeed, I succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty simple.
Hmm.
All right, folks, that's kind of it. We wanted to touch on not judging people in the past, and that was kind of our soapbox for the day. So if you guys have any comments or anything about that, feel free. We'd like to thank you all for watching and listening to us today. For those of you who would like to get in touch with us, we'll link all the different ways to do that. So you can leave us a review or comments or whatever you might like. Don't forget to follow the show on your favorite streaming platforms like YouTube or Spotify, or what's the other one?
Um, I
Or
don't
is
know.
there another one? Anyway, all of those. And that way you can stay up to date on the latest news and episodes. Thanks for sharing in our journey, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Yep. See you later. Bye,
All right.
guys.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye, babe.
Bye.